Morning, Committee on Parole is called to order. Today is Tuesday, March 14th, 8:25 a.m. My name is Brennan Kelsey, be chair. Along with me is Mr. Pete Freeman, Mr. Tony Marabella. Staff and support of seat at DOC headquarters in Baton Rouge. With staff and support, please introduce yourself.
My name is Quincey McKinley.
The staff here. All right. Remote location is East Feliciana Parish Jail. With staff and support at East Feliciana, please introduce yourself.
Lloyd Sam is East Feliciana Parish Prison.
All right, we're ready for our first case. Please introduce yourself, state your name and DOC number for the record.
My name is Quincey McKinley, 385608.
All right, Quincy, you heard the introduction. We'll have a parole interview, ask you some questions. You can respond. At the end, you can make a statement. We'll take a vote. Do you understand the process?
Sir.
All right, get to it. Quincy, and we do have a guest that'll speak at the appropriate time, Quinethia Diggs. Quincey McKinley, DOC number 385608. You are a third class offender. Parole eligibility date 7/1/2023. Good time date 5/4/2024. Full term date 11/15/2032. You have a 12-year sentence, 6 months. Possession with intent to distribute Schedule 2 CDS. Possession with intent to schedule. Possession with intent to distribute heroin. Possession of a firearm or carrying a concealed weapon by a person convicted of certain felonies. Does that sound correct?
Sir.
Does that sound correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, would you answer Mr. Marabella's questions, please?
Good morning, Mr. McKinley. My name is Tony Marabella. Can you hear me?
Sir, good morning, Mr. Marabella.
Mr. McKinley, how old are you, sir?
45,
And how long have you been in jail this time on these charges?
since 2019.
Okay, was that 3 years?
Yes, sir.
How long have you been in jail all your life? I mean, you've been convicted at least 3 times. So tell me how long you've spent in prison.
Probably about 15 years.
Tell me a little bit about your education. How far did you go in school?
I went to the 10th grade in high school. When I was on my first incarceration, I was eligible to apply for getting my body offender trade and a paint trade when I was in a Balls Correctional Facility.
Okay, and did you get that?
Yes, sir.
And have you ever worked on the outside? What kind of work have you done on the outside?
Yes, sir. I did also work. I worked on the oil field. That's what I'm working at right now.
What kind of work were you doing in the oil field?
Rigging. Rigging.
How much were you making?
I was getting paid, right now I'm getting paid $14 an hour.
So why were you dealing drugs?
It was a bad decision on my part, Mr. Marabella.
It's been a bad decision all your life.
Yeah. Well, you
I
know,
mean, how many years were you dealing drugs?
just recently, it was just an opportunity that I had came up and I just made a mistake. I take
What do you think
responsibility.
recently? You started out in 1996. You've got a long history of drugs. Were you a drug user as well?
Yes, sir.
You've never used drugs?
Yes, sir.
You just sell them.
Yes, sir.
So every one of these drug convictions that you have involve dealing drugs and not you're using drugs. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Mr. McKinley, I see you have 10 children. How old are your, is that right?
Sir.
How old are your children?
I have a 27-year-old, a 26-year-old, a 21-year-old. I have a 17-year-old. I have a 13-year-old. I have a 10-year-old. And I have 2 8-year-olds.
Let me ask you a question. What would you do to someone that gave one of your children drugs and it either killed them or ruined their life? What would you do to that person?
I will have to ask myself to forgive them because everybody makes mistakes. And I will try to be out there for
I'm just
them.
asking you a quick question. So you're telling me if someone dealt drugs to one of your children, you would just ask for forgiveness? You wouldn't get mad at that person? You wouldn't want to harm that person? because of what they did to your child?
Not because of the simple fact that this is my child's responsibility to know better. You know, it's on me to go out there and teach my child to know right from wrong and to know better about what his decisions are.
But what about the people you sell drugs to? It's their fault that they're stupid to buy them? Is that what you're telling me?
No, sir.
So what harm do you think you caused over these years distributing not just marijuana, but cocaine and heroin?
A great amount.
I read in your application, you said, I have been rehabilitating my way of thinking.
Yes, sir.
Now, tell me what has changed from the time you came to prison 3 years ago to now?
That I know that I have to change my people, places, and things. That I have to live for my kids, to better my kids, because of the way that this generation is going now. Just like you said, I don't want my kids to make the same mistakes that I've made.
Well, I mean, you're 45 years old. You had to come to prison to learn that? You didn't know that before?
No, sir. I had to come to prison to open my eyes to know that I can't make it throughout life doing the things that I'm doing.
Now, you've been in prison at least 12 years before you came this time.
Yes,
You
sir.
didn't take programs or any courses while you were in prison the last time?
Yes, sir, I did. I stayed out there from 2010 to 2019. I worked and everything else. I just made a bad decision before I came to jail.
What makes you think that I should believe that you won't make that bad decision again?
Because I feel like I didn't spend enough time of my life in prison to know better, to put myself around better people.
Your record doesn't show that to me. My question to you is, why should I believe that? You're telling me, oh, that's what I'm gonna do. Give me some specifics that I can hang my hat on to vote for you. I see a horrible record. I see a man who's in prison because he had at least 6 buyouts, sellouts to confidential informants. You were smoking marijuana and with I assume one of your children when you were selling some of those drugs. Is those police reports all wrong?
Yes, sir. They dropped those charges.
I'm sorry?
Yes, sir. They dropped those charges. They dropped those charges. I understand that my record may show one thing, Mr. Mirabella, but I'm here to tell you that I have to learn. I know that I cannot continue to keep coming back to prison trying to be something that I'm not.
My question is very simple. There is a police report with surveillance that suggests you were smoking a marijuana blunt, selling drugs with a young child. Was that one of your kids?
Yes, sir, but that's not correct. That was a police report that got threw out behind somebody that lied on me.
My question to you is, you told me you didn't smoke drugs. There are surveillance that show you were smoking a marijuana blunt with a young child present. You're saying that's not true?
I'm saying that that wasn't the case at the time.
What do you mean at the time? I'm not suggesting legalities. I don't care if it was thrown out because of something or not. My question to you is, were you smoking a marijuana blunt in front of one of your children or a child at the time you were selling drugs? Yes or no?
No, sir.
So that's false.
To my knowledge.
To your knowledge, that's false. Okay. Mr. McKinley, our records indicate that you have high needs. You have high needs for substance abuse. And you say you don't do drugs, but our records suggest that you have a serious drug issue. You also have high needs for antisocial thinking, which means you need a lot more work. Now, you've done a few programs. You've taken Cage Your Rage. You've done victim work, and you've taken Nurturing Parents. What other programs have you taken that has made this big change in you?
When I was in DCI, I was in the Living in Balance class, sir.
Okay. So you took Living in Balance as well? When did you take that?
I took that from July 14th to whenever I got shipped to the work release.
Sir, what can you tell us, the deputy, what can you tell us about Mr. McKinley?
Well, since he's been at my facility, he came here in October of last year, October 3rd. He don't have any disciplinary infractions, no issues with staff. He's currently working for Gulf Island offshore, and he works part-time for Jet Enterprise when he's not offshore. Just haven't had any issues with him at all.
Thank you.
All right, we're here from Ms. Diggs, Ms. Quincey Diggs. Letitia.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, go ahead and make a statement, or a brief statement.
Okay. Well, as my dad stated, he spent 15 years in prison. And I definitely think that he deserves one more chance. He has kids out here. When we talk to him now, it's a different dad. Like, we're calling him for, we're waiting on his call and getting advice from him because he's giving good advice. He has a place waiting on him. He has a job. He has grandkids he hasn't met yet. He has grandkids on the way. I definitely think that with the strong support of family and him not being friends with who he was friends with before, I definitely think that he would do better this time. And I can guarantee you, I believe that he would do better this time.
All right, thank you so much for your comment.
Thank you.
All right, Mr. McKinley, would you like to make a statement on your behalf?
So,
Go ahead.
understand that I've made some mistakes, and understand that Mr. McBelly, you were right to the point that it took for me to become a man to admit to this board right now today that I have to change my people, places, and things. I have to change the people, places, and things to the point where I have to support myself with my family, with people who have my best interest at heart, and continue working for the things that I want. I don't want to make the same mistake by not being the father to my kids, so anything will happen to them so that I can teach them better and so they can learn from my experiences.
All right, thank you. Thank you for your comments. Panel prepared to vote. Mr. Marabella.
Mr. McKinley, I hope you are changing. You have a very beautiful, wonderful young daughter who's testifying on your behalf today. It sounds like you've got some good family support. But you're a drug dealer, and you've been peddling poison to people for a long time. We've got 5 or 6, you can shake your head, you can do what you don't. I've read all of the reports, I've seen all of the surveillance, and you were dealing drugs. And you had served 12 years in prison before that. You've only been in prison for 3 years now, and all of a sudden you're rehabilitated. I don't buy that yet. I think you're on your way. I hope you're on your way. You need to turn that corner. When you said, well, if somebody sold my children drugs, well, that's their choice. And I think that's what you believe. You've been peddling poison to people for a long time, and you believe, well, it's their fault if they're stupid enough to buy it from you. You have to understand what you are doing and why you're doing it and what's going to make you quit. And until you do that, I'm not prepared to release you. My vote today is to deny you. Good luck to you.
Mr. Freeman.
I concur with Mr. Marabella. I vote to deny.
All right, you have 2 votes to deny your parole. Also, I'm going to vote to deny your parole today for the same reasons as stated. Continue to work hard. I think you're right there close. 3 votes to deny. Today, your parole's been denied. Good luck to you.